John Ashley with Prestige Curb Appeal. We do residential and commercial pressure washing. We do everything from roofs, houses, and driveways. Commercial-wise, we do shopping centers, parking lots, everything, you name it. It really helps and makes you feel good and increases the property value. Give me a call, 865-621-1004. We'd love the opportunity to give you a quote, come out and see your house, even look at your driveway.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but here we go again, my friends. Another big-time severe weather event possible across the entire state, the region. Folks are already cleaning up from the severe weather we had Friday into Saturday, and it is moving back into our area. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to be through the overnight hours like as late as it was last time. Thank goodness for that. But it does look like it is going to pack a punch, and we do have a rare 45% probability issued for damaging winds by the Storm Prediction Center. So we're going to be walking you through all the details. I see you all firing away on the chat here already this morning, so I do appreciate you joining me. I do want to start you off first things first with a live look from KMNV, Monroe County Airport. Really cool sunrise taking shape, and the moon kind of getting tucked back behind some clouds that are zipping their way on through. Got a little warm front moving on through, and that could spark off a couple of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. And if those do fire up before the main event comes through, they will likely become severe, kind of like what we saw on Friday. But the main event really is going to come through after about sundown here tonight. So, again, strap in. We got a lot of information to pass along to you this morning. So here we go. Let's talk about the risk level from the Storm Prediction Center. And I'm going to take you through a rotation tracker. I'm going to take you through the future cast. And we're going to talk about all the different categories that are issued by the Storm Prediction Center. But we have a level 1, 2, and 3 risk for our entire region that runs through the day today. And this is the same storm system that brought in tornadoes across parts of Oklahoma and Missouri and Arkansas throughout the day yesterday. So here in East Tennessee, we have a level 2 and a level 3 risk. So the Storm Prediction Center has upgraded most of East Tennessee to a level 3. That is an enhanced risk for severe storms. So you'll definitely want to stay weather alert throughout the afternoon, evening hours, and through the overnight hours. You'll want to check back in. I'll do a live update at noon. We'll do another live update at 6. And then we will likely be doing severe weather coverage, if not before the main event, if we get some supercell thunderstorms to fire up ahead of the main cold front that will come through later on this evening. All right. So let's take you to our future cast. I'm just going to pick up the timeline here at noon today. Nothing to really show you here this morning. Now, we do have a little wave moving its way through, and that may spark off some scattered light rain showers from now through about noon. But as we get into the afternoon, there is some discrepancy in the models. There's 3 o'clock today. One model has a little bit more enhancement of those storms. See those storms in the top left-hand side of the future cast? Another model has a little bit more enhancement there. If those storms do get going, they're going to tap into a very favorable environment to produce severe storms and rotating supercell thunderstorms. So we'll have to watch out for that from noon till about 4 or 5 o'clock here today. After that point, the main event's going to come through after about sundown tonight. Here's 9 o'clock tonight. And again, these are the cells. These are the storms that will likely become severe. Like we had on Friday, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a slew of severe thunderstorm warnings. Damaging wind, of course, is going to be the main threat with 60, 70-plus mile-per-hour winds out of some of these storms, and that's why we have that damaging wind threat that I'll highlight here in a second. But again, this turns into a QLCS. And so that's a line of severe thunderstorms that you can get spin-ups inside that. The greatest threat's going to be from probably sundown through about, say 10 to midnight west of Interstate 40. Then from 10 to 11, it starts to work its way in the valley. Again, give or take about an hour or two, just like what we talked about last week. There's 11 o'clock here tonight. This is just one model input, or output, I should say. There's midnight tonight. And again, still some strong storms as it blasts its way into the mountain counties and then weakens after we get past about midnight to 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning. That's the general idea. Again, I'll have all the latest updates at noon for a live weather update and again at 6 o'clock. So make sure you allow your notifications because I will send a push alert like I did this morning to have folks come and join us. So if you're joining on the app this morning, welcome. I'm going to keep that app up and running. I'm going to keep the video forecast up and running. We're going to switch over to my severe show. So therefore, throughout the day, you're going to get a lot more information on how this severe event is playing out around our region and locally here as well. This is that rare event I was talking about. See the purple area? That's a 45% probability that we could see severe damaging winds in that purple area. So that does include places like Scott County, Anderson, Roane, all the way down the I-75 corridor from Chattanooga up across the Cumberland Plateau. Okay, so that is the main threat. And then this damaging wind threat starts to weaken as it pushes its way east, but we still have the risk levels for all of East Tennessee. Okay, so I can't possibly ask. I mean, I know a lot of folks are going to be like, hey, what about Loudoun County? What about Dandridge? What about Maynardville? Listen, everybody is under the risk for severe storms. Now, hail is going to be could be an issue. We're talking about damaging hail, upwards of quarter to ping pong size hail possible. Not a major hail event. It's more of a damaging wind event. But here's your futurecast hail. Anytime after about sundown through about midnight would be our hail threat. And then after that, I think the hail threat really starts to die down as the storms push off to our east. The other threat, of course, is the tornado threat. And so the Storm Prediction Center has put us under a level 3. That's a 10% probability with a hatched. If you ever look at their product online, there will be a hatched area. So this is technically the hatched area. Let me just expand it out. That includes Nashville. That includes Memphis. It includes northern Mississippi and Alabama. So that is going to be the threat, but it also includes the Cumberland Plateau for us here in East Tennessee. That's going to be the greatest threat for tornadoes to be developing through this entire event. Something to kind of keep in mind. Again, scan that QR code, download the East Tennessee Weather app. If you wouldn't mind sharing, liking, subscribing to anything I post on social media, make sure that your friends and family members know exactly how to use the app. Make sure that they have the notifications turned on. And you'll want to have multiple ways to receive notifications. Of course, the NOAA Weather Radio is the voice of the National Weather Service when you're not paying attention. All right, here's your Futurecast. We pick up our timeline at 7 o'clock here tonight. And notice the Futurecast showing some spin in the atmosphere. And notice the red. It is also forecasting some strong spin in the atmosphere from sundown through about midnight. Once we get past about midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning, the threat for tornadoes starts to decrease. But it is picking up on that threat across the Cumberland Plateau where we do have that severe weather threat or the significant tornado threat that could be possible. So this morning I have thrown up the extreme category for damaging wind. So damaging wind is going to be the main threat on that extreme side. It's basically from sunset through about 2 a.m. with the caveat of an isolated supercell thunderstorm developing throughout the afternoon way ahead of the storm system. If that can get going, or if a storm can get going way ahead of the main line, that would likely become severe. Yes, there is a chance. I'm going to keep tornadoes on the low side, but yes, there is a chance for sure. Hail, medium quarter size or even larger, up to ping pong size hail can't be ruled out. Again, through about 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, at which point it starts to diminish quite a bit. And then low end on the flooding and flash flooding concerns, but it definitely does present an issue thanks to the saturated ground, the heavier rain showers that we saw Friday and Saturday. And we're talking about the potential of isolated 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. So we could be dealing with some flash flooding concerns as we head through this entire event as well. And the Weather Prediction Center has put us under a level 2, a slight risk for flooding and flash flooding concerns. And so that's going to be the biggest concern. Not the biggest concern, that is going to be a concern in those isolated locations. So something to kind of keep in mind there. All right. Of course, if you have any questions, fire away on the chat. I'll try to answer as many questions as I possibly can. Just kind of strap in and tune in throughout the day because I will be broadcasting. All my forecasts will be live throughout the day today to keep everybody up to date. And yes, you will get a push notification when I do broadcast live. So we'll do at least 3 live broadcasts and likely to do severe weather coverage at some point of the day today. All right, let's talk temperatures. It's mild, it's muggy. It feels like it did Friday morning, doesn't it? We've got 60s and 70s. You can feel the warm and mugginess out there. That's fuel to the fire. Dew points are currently in the 60s and 70s, and that's going to be the story throughout the day. That provides us the energy in the atmosphere. Whenever dew points get past about 55 degrees, severe weather threat increases. Anytime we have dew points in the 60s and 70s, and we have a system on the way, severe weather threat does increase. Highs today will be in the mid to upper 80s. I don't know why those are on there. We'll take those off. But either way, back behind this system, I do want to stress that we are looking at some gorgeous weather to set up shop and head our way. There we go. We'll get rid of that. So dew points will drop into the 40s and 50s Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. They'll climb back to the 50s and 60s Sunday, Monday as another disturbance heads our way, and that's going to bring us another chance for some scattered showers. And unfortunately, it's Memorial Day Monday. It's Memorial Day weekend. Saturday and most of Sunday probably are going to be fine. Monday looks like it's going to bring us some rain, or maybe Sunday night into Monday. Of course, the timing is a little unknown right now, a little unclear, but that's day 6 and 7 on the 7-day. So we'll top out at 86. Severe storms today, upper 70s. Drier air starts to settle on in. It's going to be rather breezy and gusty today and tomorrow. The wind will relax, maybe a couple of passing showers on Thursday, not a big deal. And then cooler 70s, 60s and 70s Friday, Saturday, with a little bit warmer weather on Sunday, and back closer to those seasonal averages as we get into Memorial Day on Monday. All right, good morning. Lance is traveling to Nashville for class today, and it will be bad on the back. Will it be bad on the ride back around 5 to 7 o'clock tonight? All right. So, Felicia, this one's going to be for you. I'm going to take you to the big picture and show you our Futurecast model because probably don't want to be really in Nashville today. I'm just going to throw that out there. So let me get the right map here going for you. I would really recommend not being on the road at that time. Let's see. Okay, here's your Futurecast. So let me just take you to the big picture and show you. Let me get you a different one. All right. So, okay, so here's our Futurecast. Here's our Futurecast around the state and around the region. Okay, so here's 6 o'clock this morning. Okay, that right there would be noon Central Daylight Time. So maybe a couple of isolated supercell thunderstorms around the lunch hour. There's 3, so he's going to come back between 5 and 7. So there's 5, that's 4 o'clock Central Time. Okay, so if he hits the road before 4 o'clock Central Time, hopefully we'll be able to beat it. But they will be chasing him, Felicia. There's 6 o'clock, so that'd be 5 o'clock Central Time. There's 7 Eastern Time. Severe storms are really going to be ramping up between, between 4 and 7 o'clock Central Time. Storms will be firing up across Nashville. So maybe if he can hit the road a little bit sooner, Felicia, that would probably be better. And then you can see how these storms are really going to ramp up. There's 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Now we start to see these storms fire up and push their way across the plateau. They line up. So little individual supercells right there between in Nashville into the evening rush hour. So that's not good news. But as it tracks its way eastward, it becomes a QLCS, lines up as a line of severe storms as it moves through our area. That's how it's all going to play out. Hopefully I helped you out there, Felicia. Let's see. Debbie, don't be terrified. Just stay with me, and I'll keep you posted on all things, and I'll definitely walk everybody through the forecast. As we progress through the day, we'll hold each other's hands and walk through this together. That's what we will do today. Let's see. Alabama meteorologist said that here we're going to be unusual for this area. This is going to be a little bit... we just got a lot of fuel to the fire. We just have a lot of fuel. So if we can have the spark to kick off that fire, that's likely going to be the case, and likely not going to be a great event. And again, damaging wind is going to be the main threat. I think we're going to have a slew of wind damages. We're going to have another round of a slew of power outages that will continue to kind of crank up as we get the trees to topple. Remember that we've got a lot of surface area on those trees. We talked about this on Friday, a lot of surface area on the trees because, well, they've all leaved out. And that surface area is not going to be a great thing when we're talking about damaging winds to move on through. I will be broadcasting live as this event starts to work its way out of Nashville. I will be on there to keep you up to date. I do believe that Chris is going to be out storm chasing. We may have 2 storm chasers that may join us on the broadcast here tonight, so stay tuned for that. We've got a new one that wants to storm chase for us as well, that does storm chasing for YouTube, so he probably is going to join us here this evening as well. Let's see. I appreciate you, Justin. You're very welcome, Cassie. We are determining whether to postpone an event from 5 to 7 this evening, and it looks favorable so far. I think you'll be fine so far, but the caveat, Cassie, would be you need to watch out for those isolated supercell thunderstorms that may fire ahead of the main line. Nashville looked probable. Here in East Tennessee, it's a little iffy if we can get those to fire up, but if we do, that would likely be around, say, 3 o'clock here this afternoon, running through probably about 5 or so. Let's see. One model is indicating, let's see. Just looking at a little bit of data as I talk to you. So, not too confident that it will happen. One model has a little bit of activity from basically, what would that be? 20Z, so about 3, yeah, about 3 o'clock. So let me show you what that model looks like, because that might give you a good idea. I can show you different models. All right, so here's one model that we could share with you. So this is going to be the NAM high resolution model. This one typically overdoes a lot of things, a little bit more active or convective, but it gives us a good idea. So here are these little tiny showers that we may see this morning. But watch this, as we get to noon, there's 1, 2, 3 o'clock. So those are the cells that I'm talking about right there between about 1 and 4 o'clock. If we can get the atmosphere to fire up in this kind of environment, this is what's going to present us a problem with supercell thunderstorms, and those would likely be rotating supercell thunderstorms. Not too confident that that will happen, but if it does, they will go severe, and then the main event comes through with this line right here about anytime after sundown tonight. This model shows a little bit later, but a lot of times these typically speed up. There's 1 o'clock, there's 2 o'clock in the morning, so general idea anyways. But have to watch out for some isolated supercell thunderstorms way ahead of the main event that could fire between about 1 and 3, 1 and 4. And then after that point, we'll watch for the main event that comes through after sundown tonight. Let's see. Why did we keep getting these rare events in East Tennessee? Just the way this year is going, Scott. We've had Mays that have been incredibly quiet and dry and cool. We've had Mays that have been incredibly hot and humid, summer-like. And we've had Mays that have been very stormy. And this happens to be one of those ones that it is going to be on the stormy side. Natasha says, is it going to be worse than the storms last Friday night? Well, we are under a rare 45% probability for seeing damaging wind gusts by the Storm Prediction Center. So they are predicting a little bit more of a higher end damaging wind event than what we saw on Friday. So yeah, I actually do think that the potential is a little bit more elevated for tornadoes and damaging winds from what we saw on Friday. Let's see what else we got going on. Again, I will post everything on social media, so make sure you watch out. I would say anytime after about midnight, probably for the Tri-Cities area. So we'll go back to your future cast. I like to listen. This is a question and answer platform. If you have questions, I try to answer them as much as I can to give everybody the latest information. So we'll go back to that future cast model, and let me get that up on screen here for you. All right, so let's pick up our timeline on our future cast this morning, 10 o'clock. Here we go. We'll run you through time. So 10 to noon, maybe a couple of passing light showers. No severe weather threat at that point. Basically from 1 to 4, if we can get these little tiny cells to fire up, which they could, they would likely become supercell thunderstorms and produce severe storms. That would be ahead of the main event. We saw that in Kentucky on the last event. But here we go. There's why aren't you stopping here? That is why. Let me get to a different. Here we go. Now let's pick it up again. Let's pick up our timeline at noon today. Make sure I'm on the right model. I am. Okay. So here is noon today. There's 3 o'clock. 1 to 4 supercell thunderstorms, isolated, possible but not likely. The main event comes through after about sundown tonight. There's 9 o'clock tonight. There's 10 o'clock. So everyone pay attention. And watch for your county. Watch for the main city around your community. There's 10 o'clock tonight. There's 11. Okay. There's midnight tonight. So again, Tri-Cities, the mountain counties, Upper East Tennessee, likely after about 11 or midnight tonight. But again, a lot of times these do speed up. And if it does, and of course, if it does, I'll keep you posted with the noon update and the 6 p.m. update as well, because we'll do those live. And then we'll be doing live severe weather coverage into the early evening and overnight hours. There's about 1 o'clock in the morning. So Tri-Cities, probably about 11 to 1 o'clock in the morning, I would say, is when you're going to get hit for the most part. And anybody else after about 7 o'clock here tonight. Let's see. Do you think it would be nasty for schools to dismissals at 3 o'clock? Not necessarily. I mean, maybe some schools. I don't think so. It depends if those supercells fire up. But remember that a lot of these kids are going to be more safe, especially in some of these outlying counties. They're going to be a lot safer in the school than maybe at home, especially if they grew up or are growing up in a manufactured or mobile home. In some of these rural communities, we have that. And so that's something to kind of keep in mind for places like Scott County Schools and Fenchurch County and Morgan County if those storms fire up. If not, the kids are going to be doing just fine. Should be warm and windy as the kids head home from school. Temperatures, we're going to top out in the mid to upper 80s. So definitely, when can we expect this funky weather to stop? Hopefully soon. Hopefully we can get into that like June gloom type of thing, right? Well, we don't have June gloom here for the most part. That's a California thing, but... so there's a good chance it'll be nasty for Knox County school dismissal. Not necessarily the case, Missy. Again, isolated supercells possible, but not likely between 1 and 5. We'll just say 1 and 5. But then the main event is really going to be after sundown here tonight. That's really going to be the story. All right. So that's probably kind of the situation ongoing throughout the day today. Hopefully everybody got everything they need. Of course, if you're joining on the app and joining a little bit on the later side, I will send you back to the 24-hour channel and your forecast, and I will have the app is going to be running the 24-hour channel all day today with a special weather platform today, a special severe weather look at it. I was running that on Friday into Saturday as well, so you're going to get a lot more updated information from me. You're just going to get a lot more severe weather graphics, so people can really tune in. Anytime you open up the app, you're going to get some information on that severe weather potential. All right, it's 6:22, and I know some of you want to dance here this morning, so we'll move right along to the rest of the broadcast here, and we'll take you outside again to KMNV. That's Monroe County Airport in Madisonville. Nice shot of the moon, top center-ish, with the sun chasing the moon today. All right, here are your national holidays for the day today. Let's get to work with that, shall we? It's May 20th, celebrating birthdays and events. So happy birthday, celebrating a birthday today. Tomorrow is my son's birthday, so we'll wish him a happy birthday tomorrow. It's National Quiche Lorraine Day. Love me some quiche Lorraine. It's National Sugar Bee Apple Day. Not a big fan of apples, but I bet sugar bee apples are pretty good. It's National Streaming Day. Great day for that. Why? Because I'm going to be streaming on all East Tennessee weather platforms, the live updates throughout the day, and of course, the live severe weather event that's going to be taking place here this evening and overnight tonight. National Streaming Day. We're all streaming most of our data anymore these days anyways. Hence, this is why I started East Tennessee Weather. The TV stations are just now trying to catch up and do some streaming. The way I've been doing it now for over a year and a half. Good for them. But listen, we'll keep you up to date on everything. All right, National Rescue Dog Day. Anybody got a rescued dog? We rescued Bandit. He is no longer with us anymore, but one of our first dogs for my wife and I together. We had him for what, like 12, 13 years, something like that? Now we got two new little dogs, not rescued. National Pick Strawberries Day. All right, that's a good day. I know the berries are starting to pop around town. And it's National Be a Millionaire Day. Okay. I don't know why I just pushed that button. I went to push that one. Let's go ahead and be a millionaire, shall we? That sounds nice right about now. Sure wish that could happen. All right, those are your national holidays. Oh, let's take you to, how about Fort Loudon Dam? That's a cool one. So I'll be able to show you all these East Tennessee weather cameras here tonight. And again, we will be broadcasting through this entire event. All right, so I was getting a question on here. I wanted to double check my data here. So Joe Mama 72, what's up, Joe Mama 72? How are you this morning? Is there a cap situation we're watching for explosive thunderstorms? I've got a bug in here. No, unfortunately, there does not seem to be much of a cap, and so that's so that's something to kind of watch for, right? So I don't think a cap is going to keep anything from initiating. If we get a little piece of energy to fly through the sky as we get into the afternoon, because there is no cap, those storms will get going pretty quickly, and we've got a lot of CAPE in the atmosphere. So even by say 5 o'clock tonight, we've got CAPE of an LI of minus 4.9. CAPEs are pushing 3,100 joules per kilogram. We do have a 1 kilometer EHI that takes in CAPE and spin and wind shear in the atmosphere of a 1.4. So that's 5 o'clock today. And if that were to happen, then that's why we would see supercell thunderstorms forming with rotating supercell thunderstorms, because we have that much spin in the atmosphere and that much explosive energy that we could tap into. A lot of buoyancy in the atmosphere with high dew points. We got in the forcing. So that's what we need to watch for. So that's 5. Then we start to lose that a little bit, and then that main line comes through. I'm just looking at some skew T's as I talk to you. But we still do have quite a bit of spin. I'd say by about 8 o'clock here tonight, we still have quite a bit of spin. So I think the tornado threat's going to be an earlier threat if that were to take shape. And then we start to lose the tornado threat, turns into a damaging wind event. And the entire event is going to be a damaging wind event. But the tornado threat should be a little bit earlier. So late evening, early through the early overnight hours versus, through the entirety of the event itself. Rescue fur babies are the best. They are for sure. Aw, yours is a rescue as well. All right, before we wrap things up, I'm just going to go through the forecast again for any late stragglers. Might as well get all the information out. I don't necessarily need you to come back and watch it again. So let's go through the data again. So bear with me. If you've already seen it and you need to hit the road for the day today, have a great day. Be safe, be kind to each other. But for those that may just now be joining, let me just go ahead and walk you through the details again. We'll go a little bit quicker, but we have a level 1, 2, and 3 risk for severe storms today. The bullseye is going to be across the state of Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, and Mississippi. And so that does include us here in East Tennessee with a level 3 risk for severe storms by the Storm Prediction Center. That's what we had for our Friday, Saturday of this last week. We had a level 2 and a level 3 risk. So here's your Futurecast model. Once again, we'll pick up our timeline at noon. Again, we're going to watch the possibility between about 1 and 5 o'clock today of an isolated supercell thunderstorm that will develop or could develop. If it does, it would go severe. But if it doesn't happen, then that's okay. Then we talk about the main event that's going to come after sundown tonight. There's 10 o'clock tonight. Here's 11. Here's midnight tonight. Again, give or take an hour or two. Because these typically speed up, but like the last one, the model started to show it speeding up, and then it really slowed down to what the models were originally advertising. There's 1 o'clock in the morning. After about 1 or 2 o'clock, the event will come to an end. But a rare 45% probability for severe winds by the Storm Prediction Center. So damaging wind is going to be a major threat, especially across the Western Valley and the Cumberland Plateau, west of Interstate 75. That is a rare wind event associated with this system. We also have the hail threat. Hail's likely going to be for the initial onset of the storm system. Here's 7 o'clock tonight. As the storm starts to work its way out of Nashville, hail's going to be forming. Now, again, this is not a major hail event. This is a damaging wind, isolated flooding, and isolated tornado event. That's the event that we're talking about here tonight. Tornado outlook by the Storm Prediction Center. We're under a level 1, 2, and 3 risk. The yellow is a 10% probability with a hatched area, meaning an elevated probability for significant or strong tornado risk. A significant tornado risk across the Cumberland Plateau, from Jamestown all the way down to Chattanooga and back into Middle Tennessee. And so that's the concern. For the biggest concern, anyways, for tornadoes. So when you look at your Futurecast rotation, here's what it looks like after sundown tonight. Here comes the rotating supercell thunderstorms. There's 10 o'clock tonight, 9 o'clock Central Time for you folks on the plateau. There's midnight, 11 o'clock Central Time. And as it works its way eastward, we start to lose that spin in the atmosphere, and it transitions to a heavy rain event. So with all that said, here are your storm threats, extreme when it comes to damaging wind. A big damaging wind event is on the way. Then we're going to continue to see isolated tornadoes. Yes, there is a chance. I'm going to keep it on the low end. And then as we look at hail, quarter size, maybe upwards of ping pong size, west of Interstate 75. Isolated, but the flood potential definitely exists with the potential of upwards of 1 inch to 2 inches of rainfall with this system overnight tonight. And so if you saw a lot of rain Friday into Saturday, then you get a lot of rain here with the event tonight. Flooding and flash flooding is a concern. And so that's why the Weather Prediction Center has issued a level 1, but mostly a level 2 risk for severe storms. That is the story here over the next 24 hours. Behind this cold front, much more pleasant weather returns to the area, decreasing clouds, but we'll have windy conditions tomorrow. We're down to 79, so that's average. Average high for this time of year now is 80. Then we're going to be trending about 10 degrees below average Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, and then into our Memorial Day Monday, there is a chance of some rain showers that are going to set up shop and work their way on through. All right, Mike, I used to watch you on WBIR with Todd as a kid. I have missed you so much. Glad you're doing your own thing. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. Do you have the East Tennessee Weather app? This is the time. Scan that QR code on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. If you're watching on your cell phone, just take a screen grab of it, throw it into your photos, and then on your photos, just go and just click and hold that QR code. And then you can scan it. Of course, if you you can just go to easttnweather.com. I do have links to download the iPhone app or download the app for iPhone and Android. I am broadcasting front and center on the app right now. We are going to leave that broadcast going all day long. Here in just a little bit after I get my kids off to school, we'll switch over to my severe weather show. I will update you throughout the day. You're going to get a lot more severe weather graphics on the app itself and on all East Tennessee weather platforms with the 24-hour weather channel. All right, be safe, be kind to each other. Life is short, as I always say. You want to have the way to receive weather information throughout the day and into the overnight hours. I'll be broadcasting live again at noon today, so make sure you check back in. In the meantime, have a great morning. Enjoy your cup of coffee, grab some breakfast, and say hi to your friends and family for me. We'll see you back here throughout the day today.